Can I make it?
Sure.
I'm going to make
Lexus
it.
UX.
I'm going to make it. Woo!
And you have Sport Plus drive mode. Of course
I just put it in Sport Plus, man. This has Sport Plus because this is the F Sport handling pack.
It's the carbon buckets. No,
you know
they don't have
it
carbon
does have
buckets.
decent seats, though. The F Sport handling pack has some pretty decent seats,
They're
honestly.
pretty decent.
But the big thing I want to ask you, Paul, is how is your user experience? UX. UX stands for user experience, and Lexus has made the UX. So how is your user experience today, Paul? Is it good?
It's good. All I could think of is the 6000 SUX from the original RoboCop. You remember that car?
Yes.
The 6000 sucks if you add it.
Yes.
This does not suck.
It does not. It does not.
It's a car that I discounted when it showed up.
Okay.
I just thought, what another silver egg, even though it's painted blue, it's just a silver egg.
Yes, agreed.
It's the new Lexus infused with Lexus engineering and designed for an agile, quick driving experience with a Lexus smooth demeanor. Marketing people must have a lot of fun.
They have a lot of
writing
fun.
a lot of weird
stuff.
things.
They write stuff that may or may not actually apply to the car. Mm-hmm.
But after I started driving, I thought, okay, maybe I need to give this little thing a chance.
Okay.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive. Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
The luxury compact crossover SUV sport car thing market is broad. There's a lot of competitors
It is, yes.
competing for your dollars in this market. So what Lexus has decided to do is build the new UX300h. It used to be the 250, but they increased the power, and there's 8 trim levels. That's right, the 300h, the 300h Premium, the 300h F Sport design, and what we're driving, which is the F Sport handling. So there's the 4 front-wheel drive versions and the 4 all-wheel drive versions.
This is the all-wheel drive.
For a total of 8. This is the fully loaded all-wheel drive F Sport handling. And on the Monroney, adaptive variable suspension is like 3rd or 4th on the list. This is the thing that sets it apart and makes it the handling pack. It's not all the other accoutrements.
True.
And the trim and the materials.
It's
the suspension that actually makes it something to consider that I hadn't. But I didn't realize that until I shot into F Sport mode or
Totally agree.
Sport Plus mode and went, this is more than a gussied up Prius.
F Sport, and I want to come back to your Prius comment because that's excellent. F Sport has been a trim package. It has not meant anything about dynamics, and we have come down on it many times with Lexus products.
Weird.
This actually has a suspension change baked into it. Now, I have to acknowledge, we're on some curves here. The suspension is well tuned for body control, but still, even in the F Sport Plus mode, loose. It is going for softness, okay? It is going for ride quality.
Still has a Lexus badge.
Is excellent. This never becomes traditionally sporty, but it does get better when it gets into Sport Plus. But I'll tell you the thing that revolutionized my thinking about this, because I agree with you. The last thing Lexus and anybody else needs to sell is another 5-seat CUV. However, I recalibrated myself because I took a look at this. This is a shorter wheelbase than the Corolla. It is smaller than the current Prius. I defy you that this is not an SUV. This is Lexus hatchback. This is a hatchback car. I don't care how you want to position it. I realize nobody buys wagons. People don't like hatchbacks. Look at this thing. It is small. It is low to the ground. It is low to the ground enough that actually it has gotten points off in some reviews for not having enough off-road capability because it's a hatch. It's a hatchback. And once you make it a hatchback, this is an all-wheel drive hybrid hatchback. It's small. Now, frankly, it weighs 3,500 pounds, which is too much, but it doesn't feel like it weighs too much. This has the same 5th gen hybrid system as is in the new Prius, which we do like. It is only all-wheel drive. This makes me laugh. It's true of the Prius too, because the back axle is driven by an electric motor. Right. This is a front-wheel drive vehicle that technically the back axle does move.
You just magically add a motor, and it's all-wheel drive. You've got 4 more models to choose from.
Yep, it's got a combined 196 horsepower. It's the same as the Prius model. So it is the Prius running gear in a hatchback shape. And this is a luxurious hatchback. I'm warring with myself on the price of this because this is $50,000. And that is, at first blush, too much. But a loaded Prius is $39,000. This is $49,000. This is $10,000 nicer than being in a Prius.
Yeah, it is.
So at that point, as much as 50 grand is ridiculous for this car, am I having a $10,000 better experience than the Prius as far as interior is concerned? Yes, I am. And I get a cool hatchback shape. And I like the way the new Prius looks. We've reviewed it. We had a long-termer, and we thought it would think it's great. But Lexus treatment at your dealer and this interior, I see 10 grand delta from the Prius. I just can't believe that puts us at 50 grand because that feels like way too much. This is not a dynamic powerhouse,
no,
but it feels small, and I appreciate that because nothing feels small anymore. It is hatchback ride height.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one. The Toyota Crown, every time I get out of that, which is a lifted sedan, I don't put my foot far enough down. This, I put my foot far enough down.
Yeah.
This is a car. It's a hatchback, and it is a good luxury all-wheel drive hatchback. It's not a Golf R, it's not some sort of all-performance thing, but this gets hybrid mid 40 miles per gallon, Lexus build, Lexus treatment at your dealer, a really nice interior that I like quite a bit. Downsides are cramped back seats. It is not something where you're going to be wowed by how it handles, but that suspension is well tuned. It's just softer than I want. It's like driving a Miata, where it's why is this soft even though I didn't know you did it well? This is that same kind of thing. I'm not saying this is a Miata, by the way. Stop typing. But it is well controlled. It's just too soft. I'm pleasantly surprised if it's a hatchback.
Positioning is everything.
Everything.
Presentation is everything. It completely depends because you are selling me. I kind of had this smallish SUV mindset.
The last thing
that was holding me back.
It's the last thing the world needs.
Yes, from really liking it. But now that I have a hatchback mindset, realizing that the interior and the distance between you and I is no greater than a Golf.
Not at all.
This instrument panel, the size is no bigger than a Golf. And everybody calls that a hatchback. The original hot hatch.
Yes.
And then they came out with a Golf R. Now, I'm not saying that Lexus needs to Golf R-ify this.
I'd take it.
I would, but is there a market for that? But just because it's a Lexus doesn't mean it always needs to be a big thing. Sedan,
Yes.
SUV, anything. It doesn't have to be big.
Agreed.
It can be small. It can be luxurious. It's all about mindset. I like it even more.
The biggest thing I keep thinking when I see
Now
this.
that you say hatchback, but why can't hatchbacks be luxurious? Because many people are shopping for that. Hatchback always implies cheapish, kind of low rent, but it's a hatchback and it's usable. But this, there's pretty decent back seat space. There's pretty decent boot space. You know what? It looks pretty good too.
It looks good. It is small, but I don't have a problem with small. To your point, why is everything in the Lexus lineup massive? This is the entry-level Lexus and it is the small Lexus. And I'm sorry, but nothing about the ride height of this, just talking stance, nothing about this is an SUV.
No.
We've seen things like the Mazda CX-30, where it's a hatchback, but they lifted it. This doesn't even have the lift. It's just sitting here at hatchback height, being a hatchback while they sell it as an SUV. Lexus made a hatch, and I am here for it. I am all about it.
I think I like it even more.
I'm surprised to say that, but if you're spending $50,000, that's too much. It's too much. But you're spending $50,000 on a hatch.
But Lexus,
that is the thing.
This interior justifies it.
Yeah.
And you know what? The styling justifies it too, because this is what a modern car is. This is what people are asking for. Lexus has nailed it. This is the size. This is the styling, just modern, interesting, lots of visual interest, we'll say. The spindle grille is still here, but look at those wheel arches. They say hot hatch, but they also say SUV. The thing you look at when you look at an off-roader is the wheel arches and the jounce with the wheel, and that tells you, oh, it's a lifted truck, and I look at the big wheel arches or the lack thereof, and that tells you. So this is kind of in between, but look, on here they're painted, and they're directional. And then I had to look it up. You walk around to the back and look at the unique Aero stabilizing blade rear lights. Aero stabilizing. The lights play in interaction with Aero. They're involved in the Aero. They're not just a graphic anymore. And that's what Lexus has embraced. It's not just a shape, like an egg, like the EQS from Mercedes with the graphics painted on. They are a stylistic, aerodynamic element. That's interesting.
I agree.
That sets it apart.
I agree, yes.
From the ADX, the Mini Coopers, the GLB, the X1, the X2.
Yes.
What else am I missing in this luxury,
and
ultra compact crossover
I hate
luxury?
to say this again on camera,
Class.
but all the Minis used to be the good standout looking ones of the group, and now they're the ugliest.
Yes.
And this is sitting here looking good.
And it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed. 18-inch wheels, run flat tires. I think that's what's keeping me from really liking it. Okay, but we're making everything more compact.
Think of how much better we made a Prius by putting better wheels and tires on it. What would that do to this?
I mean, this is lifted, but it's not just a lifted Prius. It doesn't feel like
No,
that.
I think its lift is non-existent. I'm telling you. This is wheels and tires away from being a hot hatch. Lexus, give us a long term of this. We'll do it on this.
Wheels, tires, and a 9th trim version that is the Lexus equivalent of GR. What is that?
The Super Sport.
I mean, F Sport is there, so is it truly just the F300H? The 300FH?
I don't know.
The 300HF?
Yeah. We're confused. But all I know
just is the F. Just one more trim level. One more.
we're
already at 8.
We're having a user experience.
Woo! I kind of
You need
dig
to drive.
it.
I'm surprised I've changed your mind on this, but I have to say.
I was encouraged by
you liked
Sport
it more than you thought.
Plus.
I agree with that.
Like,
but
something here.
but I have to say, as soon as I was like, that's not an SUV, it's made so much sense.
I'm fascinated.
Okay, you got to come drive.
Arrow blade stabilizing lights. Who gets to say that? Lexus does.
The marketing department gets to say that. Yeah.
I mean, the marketing part is probably pretty proud of themselves. They probably, broke early on a Friday and went to a nice 3 martini lunch to celebrate. But still, it is pretty cool. I like the styling on the interior too because it reflects the aggressiveness of the exterior. And you know what? All that Lexus aggressive that looks broad, and it works on their larger vehicles, sedan and SUV. Here, all that styling has been compressed and shoehorned onto a small package, and it still works, and that is the mark of a successful, interesting, kind of standout design. You could argue it's just another C, it's just another silver egg, it's in the sea of just crazy shapes, but you know what? Start looking closely at this.
Yeah.
It's engaging. There's visual breakup that is very Lexus lines. Look at this. It's driver focused, driver oriented. Got paddles. I mean, I recognize this from every
Prius,
Toyota.
Yeah. Well,
Crown, Prius.
all the Lexus
Corolla.
SUVs, the LX700 we recently had, that shifter actually confused my wife, but it does work quite well because we're used to it from the Prius.
What an interesting, kind of cool, unique looking interior, and you're right. This is just hot hatch.
Yes, and again, the Prius interior at $10,000 to $15,000 less than this, depending on how you spec your Prius, feels like a cheap interior, and this does not.
It weighs 3,500 pounds, which is now down out of SUV weight.
Which is crazy to say. It's heavy. I mean, this should weigh 3,000 at the high end, but okay,
Sure,
it's
but
a
it's a
hybrid
Lexus. We've
3,500.
got materials here.
Yeah, and hybrid, yeah.
And you know what? For 196 measly horsepower, no, we're not shocking anybody on the on-ramp here.
It's a CVT.
And the CVT is not very much fun because the shift points don't really reflect what the TAC is doing or the engine note. None of them are talking to each other.
Not at all.
So it shifts, then the TAC does it, and then the engine sounds different. What is the car doing?
Yeah,
like
it's
3 separate teams working on different things.
The user experience was not dialed in there. Not at all.
Sure.
Yeah,
There's other hot hatches that would do better on a canyon road that would be
Without
very
question.
hot hatch-like, but that's not the position. So that's why we need a 9th trim level that is true F. 300FH. We'll get there.
Yeah, I mean,
but still, riding here, great ride quality.
Yes.
It's
yes.
a
They did
Lexus
that
ride
really
quality.
well. Yes.
You get an HUD. You get a great driving position. And you're right, I do feel like I'm driving a hatch.
Yeah.
But it's still got a luxury car kind of feel. And that's going to resonate with buyers.
Well, that's the thing that isn't offered in this space. And it's where are you on that spectrum of sacrifice? Because if you want a performance hot hatch, I hate to say it, you're spending 40 to 50 grand to get a GR Corolla, to get a Type R, to get a Golf R. You're spending 40 to 50 grand, which is nuts. This is, I don't need it to be as aggressive on the canyon road, but I'd like it to be nicer to be in. But I'd like a hatch this is where you end up. This is the other end of the spectrum. Let's put it this way. I'll stay in Toyota. GR Corolla on one side, this on the other. That's your spectrum. $50,000 for both. Do you want all-wheel drive performance, but the interior is low rent? Or do you want to have really high gas mileage, looks very classy, and the interior is nice? Where are you?
Yes, but that justifies, sport. I can shift myself.
Look at you. You can shift the CVT.
See, it's...
You can talk, you can tell it things. I don't think it's going to listen.
It doesn't like my command.
No, it doesn't. You can tell it things and it will ignore them.
Come on, I want to rev this thing.
Yeah, that's as revvy as it gets.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you want something more revvy, go get yourself a GR Corolla. This is as far as it goes.
Yes.
And it's been a long time since you and I have been in a car that justifies its price point. And this one does. 50 grand is a lot of money.
A lot of money.
You're thinking on a hot hatch, but Toyota themselves taught us to marvel at $50,000 for a Morizo Edition GR Corolla.
Oof.
And others, the Golf R, pushing 50.
Yes, it is. It's crazy how expensive they've all got.
And here is the luxury, leaning towards the luxury, better ride quality. This is as far as Lexus needs to go, really. They don't need a 9th version. This is as much as for the ride quality with the cornering capability. It's not a sports car, but it's not unlikable.
I find this much more endearing than I expected. And as we talked about it, the more I've thought about, I kind of want a long-termer to do to this what we did to the Prius. Because the Prius, the suffer of the miles per gallon by putting more performance tires and wheels on it, it was far less, we took less of a hit than we thought. This is running low 40s miles per gallon. It can get as much as 45 miles to the gallon, which is impressive. If you got 38 by putting performance wheels and tires on this, wouldn't you be thrilled? And I bet you the performance wheels and tires would change the sense of this. And I'll also go this far. The biggest problem we had with the Prius when we put better wheels and tires on it is the seats didn't hold up. This has good seats.
They are good.
These seats would hang on to you. It's still a CVT, it's still a hybrid, it still doesn't have much power. But throwing it into these corners, if it was a little tighter, this would really be decent.
If it were a little bit tighter, the Enclave had to brake. We didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe a small turbo. And in your Lexaccessories catalog,
Lexaccessories, whoa.
Go for the giant wing out back.
I like it.
And show Hyundai what's what.
Okay,
the
all right.
luxury version of the i30N.
But Lexus, I don't know if we're helping your product line or destroying it, but we're certainly having fun. And this, I'm telling you, this is a hatch, and that makes it make sense.
That makes it likable. This is not an SUV. It's an underpowered hatch.
Yeah.
And you know what? That underpowered trade-off gets you 42 mpg combined,
it's crazy.
Which is something to celebrate.
Yes.
In something that's still moderately interesting to drive.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's no sports car.
No.
But this is pretty cool.
If you're looking for a hot hatch, not an SUV, a hot hatch, Autotempest.com is the place to go. Go to Autotempest.com/everyday so they know that we sent you. You can look up hot hatches, all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. How would you like to sort it? Autotempest can do it.
Which of your trim levels of the 300 UX300H would you like to go shop for?
Which version? How do you want to refine it? Yeah. Autotempest searches all of the other search sites for you with just one search parameter. You can refine it in ways you never imagined. Go to Autotempest.com/everyday right now. Autotempest is all the cars and one search.
The secret to the 300H, UX300H, it's always UX first, but always the key is to get in, Sport Plus immediately.
Yes.
And enjoy. And forget about SUVs, this is a unique, cool little thing. And I think your passengers will kind of like it. You're like, what is this thing again?
You need it as a commuter. You don't need it for a lot of space. It'll be a perfectly good commuter, but it's a decent luxury road trip car. These seats are far better than this car deserves.
Can you imagine Cup 2Rs on this thing? You could hang on more than normal.
Lexus,
on a
can we have one? Can we have one for a bit?
Cup
we'll
2Rs,
take it to a track day.
Giant wing, small turbo, better brakes.
We're going to take a completely different approach. Yeah.
The F300H.
Stop.
3F100H.
Just we'll mix up the letters.
H300F.
The track user experience. The Tux. The track user experience.
Now
there it is.
That's interesting.
Yes.
And bring it to a hooked on driving track day.
You know it. Absolutely.